What can you even say at this point, folks? The Dolphins fall again, another gut-wrenching loss. The record drops to 1-5, and this one hurts, 29-27. You watch this team and just think, when does it end? I've tried not to be that person who jumps online after every loss yelling, "Fire the coach. Fire the GM." But honestly, how much more proof do we need that something has to change? And before we go any further, if you love the NFL as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. And of course, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, back to it. Yes, Miami stayed competitive for most of the night. It was close, it was tense, and they actually led 13-9 at halftime. But then came the third quarter, and that's where everything fell apart. The Dolphins got completely dominated, outscored 14-0, and held to -6 yards. -6 yards. That's not just bad football, that's a collapse. And you know what that shows? Coaching. That's on the staff. Coming out of halftime that flat, that lifeless, on both sides of the ball, it's unacceptable. I'm tired of it. Every week it's the same story, the same frustration, and the same excuses. Was this the worst loss of the season? Hard to say. The collapse against Carolina last week, blowing a 17-0 lead, was brutal, but this one might be right up there. Something's got to give in Miami. Because right now, the Dolphins look lost, and fans are running out of patience. At this point, it feels like we're beating a dead horse. The same story, the same heartbreak. We'll get to the defense and Chris Grier in a moment. But first, let's talk about the offense. Because honestly, I can't keep defending this anymore. I'm done pretending everything's fine. I just can't watch this version of the Dolphins' offense and feel confident about it. The truth is simple. The quarterback position is holding this team back. Yes, Tua had moments, but tonight wasn't one of them. He threw 3 interceptions, and while not all were his fault, they changed the momentum completely. The first one wasn't on him. A perfectly placed ball that slipped right through Jaylen Waddle's hands. That's just tough luck. But then came the second one, the one that really stung. Right after the Chargers put up 14 points, Miami needed an answer. Instead, Tua forced a throw over the middle, and Benjamin St. just made a brilliant play to pick it off. Bad decision, bad timing, and it completely shifted the game. As for the third, that was a broken trick play. A quick hook and ladder that Derwin James read perfectly and jumped for the interception. You can't even put that one fully on the quarterback. But forget the picks for a second. Even outside of those mistakes, Tua just didn't look sharp. There were very few moments where you could sit back and say, "That's the guy." Maybe one throw, that deep ball to Jaylen Waddle down the sideline, was truly impressive. Waddle adjusted beautifully, bobbled it, but somehow made the grab while sliding out of bounds. Outside of that, it was rough. The timing was off, the rhythm was gone, and the energy just wasn't there. It's hard to watch a talented roster look so limited because the offense can't find its leader when it matters most. That deep ball to Waddle was one of the few bright spots, perfectly placed near the sideline, giving his receiver a chance while keeping the defender out of the play. But beyond that, it was rough. Tua missed multiple open throws in the intermediate range. From 10 to 20 yards, it was a struggle. He overthrew Waddle on a couple of crossing routes, and even Darren Waller was wide open on another that should have been an easy completion. The accuracy wasn't there. The reads weren't sharp. The confidence? Completely gone. Honestly, this was one of the toughest games I've seen him play. Yes, he did manage to put together a scoring drive late in the fourth when Miami was down by 1 possession, but that's small comfort. For context, that makes him 2 for 6 this season in late-game comeback situations. That's not good enough for a team that's supposed to be competing in the AFC. But enough about the quarterback. Let's talk about the weapons around him, because Miami has guys. Jaylen Waddle continues to prove he's a legitimate WR1 in this league. We've known this since his rookie year. Over 100 receptions, more than 1,200 yards, and consistent production despite sharing the field with Tyreek Hill, one of the top 5 receivers in football. Now when Waddle's given the spotlight, he shines. Sure, that early drop in the first quarter was brutal. It turned into an interception on what could have been a promising drive. But after that, he bounced back big time. He made a beautiful sideline adjustment on that deep throw, then came through again late in the fourth with an incredible grab on the go-ahead drive, even after the ball was tipped midair. That's the kind of effort that shows heart. That sideline grab from Waddle, the concentration, the body control, it just reminds you how special this guy is. Jaylen Waddle isn't just talented, he's dominant. And along with Devon Achane, these two are the foundation of this team. Some fans keep saying, tear it down, start over, trade your stars for draft picks. But let's be real, you don't rebuild by trading away your best players. These two are the future. Waddle and Achane are your cornerstones. Achane was phenomenal today. A career-high 128 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an average of 8 yards per carry. Sure, one of those came on a 49-yard burst where he wasn't even touched, but that's what explosive running looks like. Credit to the offensive line for opening that lane. Aaron Brewer and Cole Strange did a great job sealing the edge on that play. Still, let's not get carried away. The line had its struggles too, especially in the first half and again in the third quarter when the offense completely stalled. There were some brutal breakdowns, and honestly, one player stood out for all the wrong reasons: Jonas Savinius. At this point, there's no need to wait for film review or advanced analytics. The tape already tells the story. He's not developing, he's not improving, and he's becoming another Chris Grier draft miss. I tried to hold off calling it too soon, but no more excuses, he's been bad. And what makes it worse? We've seen this pattern before. Just like with Liam Eichenberg, another pick that never lived up to expectations. The mistakes are repeating, and it's costing this team every single week. Jonas Savinius has been so bad. He makes Liam Eichenberg look like Quentin Nelson and Zach Martin combined. That's how rough it's been through 6 games. Absolutely brutal. And hey, if you love Dolphins coverage, from game reactions to trade rumors and everything in between, make sure you're locked in right here. Now, let's be real. There's not much more to say about this offense. But before we shift to the defense, there's something that's going to sting even more. When Mike McDaniel eventually gets fired, and honestly, it could happen any day now, it's going to feel like a gut punch for Dolphins fans. Because as much as this team has struggled, firing him won't fix the real problem. If Stephen Ross keeps both Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel in place after this disaster, that's a slap in the face to every fan who's been loyal through the pain. Let's face the truth. Mike McDaniel is a great offensive play caller. Yes, he drifts away from the run game sometimes, but his play designs are smart, creative, and often brilliant. The real issue isn't the scheme, it's the execution. Think about it. Despite the turnovers, despite the poor offensive line play, the Dolphins are still averaging around 24 to 25 points per game. That's not bad at all. Here's the breakdown. Week 1, 8 points, forget it. Week 2 versus Patriots, 27. Week 3 versus Bills, 21. Week 4 versus Jets, 27. Week 5 versus Panthers, 24. Tonight, 27 again. That's 5 out of 6 games with over 20 points. For all the chaos, the offense is still producing. And that's the painful part. When McDaniel's gone, he'll probably land somewhere else as an offensive coordinator, and he'll thrive. Not because he isn't good enough, but because Miami couldn't give him the foundation to succeed. At the end of the day, Mike McDaniel just doesn't have his team prepared. That's the harsh truth. As a head coach, your 2 most important responsibilities are getting your players ready to compete and leading the locker room. Right now, he's doing neither. It's not about play design or creativity. McDaniel's great at that. But leadership, motivation, accountability, that's where he's falling short. Look across the league. Take Mike Vrabel, for example. He's not known for flashy play calling or complex schemes, but his teams show up every single week ready to fight. That's what leadership looks like. Even the New England Patriots, Miami's longtime rival, are showing what structure and good coaching can do. They just walked into New Orleans and took another win. 3 straight victories, now sitting at 4-2. And remember, this is only year 2 of their rebuild. That's what happens when you hit on your first-round picks and find the right head coach, quarterback duo. Those 2 roles define everything. If you have stability and vision there, you win games consistently. Miami doesn't have that right now. And until they fix it, from the top down, this team will keep spinning its wheels, stuck in the same frustrating cycle. More to come as we break down the defense next, because there's plenty to talk about on that side of the ball too. We could sit here and dissect every defensive stat, but honestly, there's a bigger conversation to be had. The Dolphins' defense actually started this game strong, really strong. In the first half, they were the only reason Miami was even in it. The Chargers managed just 9 points through 2 quarters. 4 offensive drives, 3 ended in field goals, 1 in a fumble. That's solid defense, especially considering how bad the offense was setting them up. Most of those Chargers drives started around midfield, turnovers, missed field goals, sloppy mistakes. Yet the defense still held the line. Only 9 points at halftime? That's impressive. But then halftime hit, and everything fell apart. Again, the Chargers came out of the locker room and went on a 7.5-minute touchdown drive to open the second half. Dolphins offense followed that up with, you guessed it, another interception. Chargers took advantage, scored again, and suddenly Miami was down by 10. Then the offense went 3 and out, and the Chargers tacked on another field goal to go up 26-13. The energy was gone. The life was gone. The momentum, completely gone. You can't pin all of that on the defense. They were left out there too long, given short fields, and asked to do the impossible. But still, the way this game ended was beyond frustrating. Miami actually clawed back to take a 27-26 lead with under a minute to go. And then, disaster. 2nd and 10, ball at the Chargers 40. The Dolphins bring pressure. Justin Herbert drops back. Jaylen Phillips breaks through. He's got him wrapped up, right there for the sack that seals the game. And somehow, Herbert escapes. I don't know if it was momentum, strength, or just pure bad luck, but the guy broke free like a superhero. And from there, it all unraveled. But Herbert shrugs him off, like it's nothing. Jaylen Phillips has him wrapped up, but he just doesn't bring him down. Herbert escapes, finds Ladd McConkey wide open for a 40-yard gain, and suddenly the Chargers are in field goal range. Game over. How does that happen? How does Phillips not finish that play? It's brutal, because he's been one of Miami's best defensive players all season. Him and Jevon Holland have been carrying this unit. But your best players have to make game-winning plays in clutch moments. And that's exactly what this team keeps failing to do, every single week. Last week, it was Tua missing Jaylen Waddle on a crucial throw. The week before that, another key mistake at the worst possible time. It's the same story on repeat. Offense or defense, someone always fails to make the play that seals the game. It's infuriating. And honestly, at this point, I've stopped expecting anything from this defense. They're one of the worst in football, maybe the second worst, maybe the worst. Them and Baltimore have both been rough, but somehow, even Dallas's defense feels more reliable right now, and that's saying something. It's an unmitigated disaster, top to bottom. 1 week, it's the defense letting you down. The next, it's the offense. And no matter what, the coaching always finds a way to collapse in big moments. Before we wrap up, I just want to mention something quickly. We'll cover it in more detail in a separate video with quotes and reports, but Bradley Chubb didn't seem to play much today. I'll have to check the snap counts, but I'm pretty sure Matthew Judon got the start instead. And with all the trade rumors swirling around Chubb, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And according to Ian Rappaport, Bradley Chubb is already drawing serious trade interest across the league. Multiple teams are reportedly inquiring, especially those looking for pass rush or defensive line help. We talked earlier this week about the financial side of a potential Chubb trade, and we'll revisit those numbers soon. But one thing's clear, with the trade deadline set for November 4th, and only 3 games left until then, the Dolphins could easily find themselves 4-5 heading into that point. They've got upcoming matchups against Cleveland, Atlanta, and Baltimore, and unless something drastic changes, Miami is headed towards selling at the deadline, no question about it. Now, before we close this out, let's talk about something else, Jaylen Wright. For the second straight week, he's been a healthy and active. He didn't play against the Panthers, and he didn't suit up today either. That's a 4th-round pick from 2024 who's been buried on the depth chart behind Devin Achane, Ollie Gordon, and fullback Alec Ingold. And honestly, at this point, Miami should absolutely explore trading him. If you can get anything, a 6th-round pick, or even a 6th/7th round swap, take it. Because right now, there's just no future for Jaylen Wright in this offense. He flashed last year, sure, but he was rough in the preseason, got banged up, and hasn't found his footing since. Meanwhile, other teams need running backs. The Chargers, who you just played, are one. The Chiefs are another. Both are reportedly in the market for help at that position. So, if Miami can move right and pick up some value, they absolutely should. If the Dolphins start dealing players, and I think they will, We'll make sure you're the most up-to-date fan in the NFL community. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, hopefully live, breaking down what's next for Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins.